Hi, I'm Mimi Lichtenstein, and I am here today to talk about one of my favorite countries. It's no secret that I love Latin America, and today we're going to talk all about Peru. Many people think that Peru is Machu Picchu, but there's a lot more to Peru than Machu Picchu, and I love it because it's adventurous, it's active, there's great food, the people are warm and generous and kind, and the culture. There's, I think, a dozen UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So it's a great destination to put on your list if you are an active and adventurous traveler. Today, I'm going to be talking with my partner, Nicholas, and we call him Nico. And he grew up in Arequipa. He's Peruvian. He also grew up mountain biking, fishing, hiking, doing all sorts of great adventure stuff. Worked out in the Amazon for a while and for different trekking companies. And then he went off on his own and started his own company to live his dream, which is awesome. He also happens to be the father of two darling children and married to an amazing chef who will come up in conversation in a few minutes. So, Nicholas, thank you for being here with me. And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about you.
Thank you, Mimi. It's great to be here. Really happy about to talk about Peru a little bit and show a window to those who would be interested to visit someday. Well, you've said almost everything about me. So I was raised and born in Peru. I'm absolutely passionate about everything related to nature, culture, adventure. So, I've spent a lot of time scouting and exploring different sites in Peru. And as you said, I'm kind of living my dream. No, the company that I work at is kind of the reflection of my own passion for finding the joy of life in nature, in meeting people, in everything what is authentic and fun about this country, right?
I love it. And I love sometimes when I send you emails or try to get in touch with you, you say, I'll write you back in 3 days when I come back from this trek or when I come back from bringing my kids to the beach or whatever. So it's so fun because you not only help me plan, great itineraries for people, but you also go out and you do all this exploration with your own family. And I think that adds to a much, richer, in-depth experience for all of us who have kids who come to Peru. So all right, well, let's start. We're going to first look at a map, and maybe we're going to chunk it up into 5 different parts of Peru today. But maybe you could give us a little introduction to how the country is divided.
Yes, I would love that, and I think that's important to understand Peru. No, so if you divide Peru vertically, you see the ocean and the coast, which is very very narrow, and funny enough, it is all a desert. No, because in this latitude, it would be supposed to be a kind of forest, but it's all a desert because of the cold ocean current called the Humboldt, and comes from the Antarctica up, and that's a circle and comes back. No, and in the north, both the Humboldt current and the Nino current that comes from the north and is warmer, they mix and they originate a fantastic riches and huge wildlife in this part. No, so it's a great area to 4-wheel drive or to just go surfing or to go fishing or just go and observe wildlife. No, then you have the Andes, the mountains. The highest mountain we have in Peru is Huascaran, with almost 7,000 meters above sea level, which in feet I don't remember. I would have to do the calculations. And then we go down to the Amazon. So that makes Peru a hugely biodiverse country and a place where you can find so many different scenarios. So the scenery will change very, very fast from one place to the other. Like in the Sacred Valley, going to Machu Picchu, you go from drier mountains to the Amazon. So yeah, it's kind of a good to know about these different regions. And if you're planning a trip to Peru, and if you can, if you have the time, it's great if you can cover these three. No.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because lots of times people think that there's an ideal time to go to a country. But I learned with Costa Rica as well, it's got very different parts of Costa Rica. So depending upon what time of year you go, it'll be different. So you just want to take that into consideration. There's not one good time to go to Peru.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So let's just look at this is what we're going to touch on. So over here is Lima. This is the Machu Picchu Sacred Valley area. And then over here is the Amazon area. And down here, which I'm super excited to talk about, the Colca Canyon and Lake Titicaca. And then Lima has lots of good adventure stuff and surfing and that, but up here it's actually even more so. And I learned a great fact from Nico earlier this week that I'm looking forward to him sharing when we get to that. And then we'll kind of round it up with some over the top experiences and off the beaten path suggestions from Nico and some tips and takeaways, some of which will have to do with altitude, because I know that's a big deal for those of us who do not live at high altitude when we come down there. So well, let's talk about Machu Picchu. I think Machu Picchu is obviously sort of the most well-known place in Peru. Tell us a little bit about, I know there are different ways to get up to Machu Picchu. There's different places to stay in Machu Picchu. Give us a little bit of insight into what you think about when trying to choose where to stay and how to get there.
Yeah. Well, Machu Picchu is obviously the place that who everybody has in mind when planning a trip to Peru. No, so probably it's first Machu Picchu and then Peru. Uh, so Machu Picchu is absolutely unique. Because of the building of how it has been built in the top of a mountain and goes all around this mountain and is in this we call it the jungle eyebrow because it's not entirely the Amazon, no, but it's not entirely so the Andes, no, it's kind of in the middle with which makes it a very mystic in a way, no, with the clouds and the environment and the wildlife, the birds. So it's really great. And there are plenty of ways to reach Machu Picchu. No, the classic one is a train, which is a beautiful ride because, as I was saying, you go from the mountains, the Sacred Valley, down through the river, all the way to the scenery changes so much in that ride that is only 1.5 hours, but you see such a change that is beautiful. But my favorite way to reach Machu Picchu is doing the 1 day Inca Trail, no, which means you go by train part of the way, and then you step off in kilometer 104, and you hike for about 10 kilometers all the way up, and then you arrive to this place that is called the Sungate, which is everything is Inca Trail, original Inca Trail. And when you arrive there you see Machu Picchu down, and that way is absolutely unique, no? Because if you go all the way by train, then you have to take the bus, and you don't quite appreciate the um, the magnitude of Machu Picchu, no?
Yeah.
So it's like the Incas did it, no? They arrived to Machu Picchu hiking, and so for everyone who can hike 10 kilometers, I definitely recommend the Inca Trail for families, for children, for adults, for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. And this map gives you a little bit of an idea of what that looks like, right?
Exactly. This zigzag is the bus, the bus ride, which I'm not particularly fond of. So arriving from the top, it's really good, no, and highly recommended. And if you regarding where to stay, no, you were asking.
Yeah.
Uh, my favorite places are two. No, one is up in the top, which is the Machu Picchu Sanctuary Lodge. It is not awesome as a hotel itself, but being right next to Machu Picchu makes a difference, no? Because you don't have to go down and up with the bus.
And it's
Uh,
the only one that's up there, right? It's right
it's the
here.
only one. It's the only one. It's owned by Belmont. And the reason why it's not a great hotel is because they were not allowed to change it. When they took it, they had to do their best with what they had. No, so because it's very restricted for constructions, for
Yeah,
so they've done a very good job. Service is amazing, and the terrace, like doing yoga early in the morning,
yeah.
looking at in this terrace, looking at Machu Picchu is just unique. No, that's really really unique. No,
Yeah, I love those photos of the doing yoga outside. I have another one that I had where you could actually see where this looks like all white, right? And you have a gorgeous view out there. And not to mention, the spa, having a massage out here with this stunning view would not be so terrible. And I love Belmont's one of my favorite hotel brands because they do such a great job with the sense of place and with making you feel warm and welcome. And so, um, the fact that they have that service level and that location makes them really quite unique.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the other one that I love and that is really really nice for families is Incaterra. No, Incaterra is down in Aguascalientes town,
Yeah,
and the great thing about Incaterra Machu Picchu Pueblo Hotel is even if when it is in Aguascalientes town, it is outside. No, so once you go in, you're lost from the world and you're in this Amazon environment where you can go bird watching. So they have resident naturalists who guide the excursions in the morning. So you can, for example, no, you can go to Machu Picchu the first day, then overnight in Incaterra, and the second day wake up early and go bird watching, go see the spectacle birds. They have a beautiful project of putting back in nature these spectacle birds. That's the only bear species that we have in Peru. And so they were rescued, and the aim is to have them back in nature. No? So,
nice.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that I don't, there's so many gorgeous places there. It's hard to go wrong. I know we've talked before about Soli Luna. It's one of my favorites for families. And I think they do such a great job there with, being a part of the community and educating kids from the community and having local people who work there and get, earn great wages. That I think that it's a beautiful spot. And I like this picture because it gives you an idea that, I think I have this one correct, right? This is from Soli.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
By the way, I might be one of the very few people who has been to Peru and not to Machu Picchu yet.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought that's kind of funny. So I definitely need to go back, but it's on my list as it is on many of my clients and many people in general. Um, and I love also, this picture of, obviously there's llamas all over Peru, and I remember fondly seeing many of them. And I also just love the colors. It's such a vibrant country with such beautiful colors in the blankets and the clothes.
Yeah, and one interesting thing about this picture, Mimi, is that you can see, the culture and then the architecture. Because if you see the stones below, that's Cusco City,
Oh,
that's Inca, and over the top, that's Spanish. No, so how the Cusco City is this mixture of Spanish and Inca that is absolutely unique and is interesting.
I love it. I love that you noticed that because I did not. But that makes sense. And this Belmont, which this is the Belmont Nazarenas, which is also beautiful. And again, it's a Belmont, so you can't go wrong with that. But I just love how it looks like such a tranquil setting in the middle of obviously a more urban environment.
Yeah. And again, no, Palacio Nazarenas is this historic house that was converted into a hotel, and it has character, it has history, and the service is amazing. and it's in the middle. Is the location right next to the Plaza de Armas, to the main plaza, is really good. No, so that's one of my, I think my best one in Cusco City. No.
Yeah. And so talk to me a little bit about Cusco. So everybody knows, I think most people know, you have to go through Cusco to get to Machu Picchu, right? And so when people do that, they typically arrive and then they acclimate for a couple of days to the altitude. Is that what you would suggest?
Yes, what we always suggest is you land in Cusco, but you don't stay in Cusco for the first 2 days. What we do is we go straight to the Sacred Valley, which is 1.5 hour, and because the Sacred Valley is lower, is 500 meters lower than Cusco City, which makes a difference, no? Because it helps you acclimatize, it helps you sleep well, it helps you digest better, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sacred Valley is a kind of the core of our experiences, no? Because people, especially from the US, don't have many days usually for their vacation. It can be like 8, 10 days or so. So there's no much chance to go around all of Peru, which is huge. So the Sacred Valley gives you this sense of outdoors and history and the mountains and the Andes and the people. So many things to do around that, no? So acclimatizing and exploring the Andes for us is the Sacred Valley, no?
And I love that this was you actually just 3 days ago, I think you said, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my friend Franco. He lives next door, and I actually went this morning mountain biking to distress a little bit for,
Nice.
and yeah, now that everything is so green because we're in the end of the rainy season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything is so green and lush. The mountains are just amazing. So mountain biking, right, go on the bike right out of my house and go up to the mountains and follow different downhill paths is just a privilege, no?
If you have a guest house, I might be moving in. Uh,
Absolutely.
And when you next come up to New Hampshire and Vermont, I've got a great mountain biking place to take you to. So I mean, it's just so stunning. And I think what's so nice about this area is the adventure and the activity is just all around you. So you mentioned mountain biking. I know there are other things like obviously hiking is available, stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking. There are lakes, there are mountains. Um,
Yeah, up
par-
here we have fly fishing, no, just right next this ravine. 45 minutes driving, you have these beautiful lakes where you can fly fish for trout. So yeah.
And I think too, sometimes people want to go the glamping route, and you can do some adventures that involve going to this area and bringing your own accommodations for the night. So that would be also for people who are a little bit more on the, less luxurious adventure side, certainly an option to kind of go deeper into the mountains. And I know there's zip lines, canyoning, and we'll talk about the Via Ferrata a little later, one of my favorites. Would you say with your kids, do you take your kids mountain biking there? Are they old enough to do that?
No, my kid is 5 years old, and the other
Okay.
ones are not here right now.
Okay.
They're two.
Too little.
Yeah, but she always asks me to go biking, so we go down to the town and to grab a coffee or something. So she's going into biking, but little by little. No,
She
not
will
yet
be a biker.
mountain. She will be for sure.
Yeah. One day. I love these pictures too because obviously it shows the cute little llama as well as all the beautiful colors. You guys have, I remember the markets. The markets there are so beautiful. There's so many artisanal products to buy and so many, weavers to either learn how to do what they do, so many options to, take cooking classes. We'll talk about cooking when we get to Lima. It just seems like a perfect spot to take a family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as you say, no, there is a lot of interaction around that. No, you can take weaving workshops or jewelry, or the art here. You can feel it everywhere. No, in the communities with the people. So it's yeah.
Awesome. Well, okay, let's skip over a little bit to the Amazon area. I love this picture that you sent because it certainly looks like a gorgeous houseboat, floating hotel, luxury hotel. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, that one is in the actually in the Amazon River up north. No,
Oh, it is. Okay.
that's the northern Amazon, because the southern Amazon wouldn't allow such big boats to navigate around. This in particular is one of the aqua expeditions vessels, and we also work with Delphin Amazon Cruises. No, both of
Mm-hmm.
them, and that's an amazing way to see the Amazon through luxury. No, if we have people who really want luxury and see the Amazon, that's the way. Because you can do a lot of excursions during the day, and then you're back to your air conditioning and amazing food and just relaxing, and there is a pool, so it's beautiful. Yeah.
I've met the owner of Aqua Expeditions at a conference before, but I've not sent anybody on one of them. Is there a range of 3 nights to 7 nights, or is there a standard set of
Yes,
nights? How does that work?
yes. It's a range of 3 to 7, as you said.
Okay.
We usually take 3 or 4, because that's enough, and you don't need to take so many days, because the 7 day kind of repeats a little bit the route, no?
Okay.
So yeah, I would say 3 4 days is perfect.
Well, it looks stunning. When I had on one of my partners, Kevin, talking about out west, we talked a little bit about renting a houseboat on Lake Havasu, and I had no idea that such gorgeous luxury houseboats existed. And same with this. It certainly looks like a floating luxury hotel, I guess, right?
Yeah, and for example, you have this Delphin has a four suite vessel, which is awesome for charting. No, if you want to chart a vessel with a family of I don't know, or 2 families, that's
Yeah,
fantastic. No, you can go there and just have your own private luxury experience in the Amazon.
awesome. And then I know you and I were talking about your favorite places in the Amazon, this part of the Amazon near Puerto Maldonado. Inca Terra Hacienda is one of them. And I love this picture because it just obviously looks so lush and green and so inviting with all those lights on. But tell us a little bit about when you're in this area of the Amazon near Puerto Maldonado, what are you doing and what are you seeing?
Yeah, the great thing, one of the great things about this area is that it was kept pristine for many years, because the access was difficult. No, now you can fly, and it's only a 30-minute flight from Cusco to Puerto Maldonado. No, so logistically speaking, is very easy. And usually, what you do is you land in Puerto Maldonado town, and from there you take a boat either upriver Tambopata River, which is I love the lodges of rainforest expeditions, like Tambopata Research Center, which is so far away, so remote, and the Amazon immersion is amazing. One interesting thing about them is that all the rooms have an open wall to the forest, no, so it's not closed. You have a mosquito net, so you don't need to worry about animals getting in your bed. But that sense of really sleeping in the Amazon, it's amazing, no, and the wildlife there is just astonishing. No, I worked there 3 months, and it was amazing. And then Incaterra is Madre de Dios River down, so it's a different river, and it's downriver, and it's also awesome.
Okay.
Maybe not so, wildlife is not so huge as in the other side, but it's really great experience as well. No.
Well, it looks stunning. So, just out of curiosity, if you're landing at the airport here and you're
Yeah.
going to the Tambopata, how long are you on the river to get there?
Yeah, you now. Previously, it would be 7 hours all the way to TRC, so they cut it in 2 days. So you had to overnight in one of the lodges, either Refugio Amazonas or Posada Amazonas. But
Okay.
now you do plenty of the way driving, so you can reach TRC in a 3 hour navigation. And the one of the great things is that you can stop in a macaw clay lake that is astonishing. No, the colors there and the macaws. Of course, as everything with wildlife, you need to be lucky with the weather and everything. But that ride, you often see jaguars now, which is
Oh,
I've
cool.
I've I've seen jaguar only once from very far away there, but yeah, now it's more often for some reason. No.
Well, it definitely, I mean, it would take weeks, obviously, to be in Peru at a nice leisurely place and hit all of these different spots. But I think what's nice about our conversation today is people can see what a great overview it is and maybe pick two or three that would fit into their trip. Most people are coming through Lima, so we'll sort of go talk about Lima. And I know one of the super famous aspects of Lima is the amazing food. And I didn't know this, but you told me the other day, I think that 3 of the top 50 restaurants in the world either are in Lima or have been in Lima, which is astonishing.
Yeah, absolutely. There are three now, which is well, Central by Virgilio Martinez, who is a friend of my wife. He's a chef. He's been number 4 in the world for 3 years in a row, and it's number. That's my wife, the one serving the meal, and
Yeah,
that's the apartment of my mother-in-law in Barranco, facing the ocean. So it's beautiful views, and she's an artist. She does pottery, so she has great taste for that. But anyway, going back to the restaurants, um, so it's been number 6 for the last 2 years, I think. And then you have Maido, which is Nikkei, is the Japanese and Peru mixture, because now we are in kind of the third generation of Japanese people who came to Peru,
mm,
and they originated this fusion of Peruvian and Japanese meal, and with the huge amount of ingredients that we have in Peru because of all the different climates, and so just an example. Now we have 3,000 edible kinds of potato. So that's huge.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and then Astrid de Gaston is the other one. No, so yeah,
Well,
and Lim.
I was going to say, I love that your wife, Brisa, she actually leads one of your, I think, experiences about culinary aspects of Lima. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, Brisa is like the breeze, no? She's always changing and finding new ways, and so it's always fun to be with. And in Lima, Lima is not a place. It was before a place to avoid, to just land and go to Cusco. But with the increasing fame of Lima in the culinary aspect, in the artistic aspect, in the folk art, is the melting pot of all the different regions in Peru with their different foods, traditions, etc. that join in Lima, no? And the food is definitely the top of them, no? Because now travelers are more and more foodies, no?
Yeah.
And yeah, so
And they can have the opportunity to eat at, some of the best restaurants in the world, or the opportunity to go do tastings throughout the city with Brisa, or even take some hands-on cooking classes and learn how to make ceviche or some of your other meals. Remind me, I don't know, I can't remember if this is correct, but a pisco sour is not from Peru, is it? Or is it?
it is. It
It is.
is.
Okay.
Well, we kind of have a discussion with Chile about that.
Okay.
But Pisco is in Peru, Pisco City, Pisco town, no, and the Pisco sour, yeah, is we do it here in Peru, no. And the difference, Pisco is our Peruvian spirit, and Chile also have Pisco, but the difference is that in Chile, they distill the pisco from the leftovers of the wine making. Now here
Okay.
we grow the grapes for the pisco specifically. Yeah. So
Okay.
mhm.
Nice. Well, I know again, if you're going through Lima, you might as well stay for a couple of days and have some good food before you go venture off to another part of Peru. And there's also actually good surfing in Lima. Although when you and I talked the other day, and I'll flip back over to the map for a second, the big, super famous surf spots in Peru are further north of Lima. Tell us a little bit about those areas up here, because the other day you were telling me a good claim to fame down here near Chicama, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Chicama is near Trujillo. Trujillo is amazing for archaeology that goes way before the Incas, no? That influenced the Incas. And there are amazing sites and museums, really, really well curated. And the surfing there in Chicama, which is 45-minute drive north from Trujillo, Chicama is arguably the longest left break in the world. No, so you can be surfing that wave for minutes, literally, or more than a minute, which is your legs end up like destroyed, after surfing away for a minute, and and all that area features many surf breaks. So even when Chicama may not be breaking in a specific date, you can go up and down driving and find these beautiful waves. No?
And find other spots. And you could, if you're a skilled surfer, you could certainly do it on your own, but there's also surf schools, and we could get you surf instructors so that you could actually respectably stand up on your surfboard for maybe not a minute the first time, but it just takes time. And then this area up here, I really love. It's obviously a little more remote, but I know that the whale watching at one time of year is spectacular. Tell us about what's the best time to go see awesome whales up there passing through.
It goes from July to November. No, there is the chances to spot humpback whales is huge, but you can also, if you're very very lucky, spot a shark whale. No, you can also that's a little bit north from Mancora. Blue whales have been seen. Orca whales have been also seen. So but the usual is spotting humpback whales and hundreds of dolphins. And so again, no, the join of these two currents up there, it makes such a riches that is in wildlife. No, that
Yeah.
is really interesting. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so it's my understanding too, actually, so there's great surfing up there, but there's also great kite surfing up there too, right? And fishing.
Yes, absolutely. And spear fishing. I love spear fishing, like going to the platforms and going down like a few meters. And so, yeah, there is this area is the area that we recommend for a beach, no? If in Peru. So if you're ending your trip and you want to relax in a nice beach, that's the place to go because nice weather and sunshine is almost guaranteed. No, even in our
We
winter,
like that.
yeah, it's warm. The ocean, for our standards, is warm. For my standards, that I grew up in Arequipa with ice cold ocean, but up there, and it's not as warm as in the Caribbean, for example, but for our standard it is. And we have amazing waves for surfing. No, so if you see how the geography, no, that part of Peru is facing the north, so we get the northern swells,
Yeah.
and then it makes like this, and you also get the southern swells. No, so in with short drives, you can go to amazing waves, and that's one of the things. The wind blows usually during the afternoons, especially in our winter. No, so kite surfing or windsurfing is also a great option. Yeah,
Okay, good
or
to
just
know.
relax and
Right.
yeah,
Or just sit on the beach and drink a
yeah,
pisco sour, eat ceviche, and read a book.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the
and
beauty of going with a family is somebody can do that and somebody else can go out surfing all day.
absolutely. And there
Uh,
is this hotel Kichik. They have a beautiful yoga area where, for people that are interested in kind of yoga and meditation, that's also a great place to go and to be, to finish your trip.
Awesome. Well, I like the idea of especially if you're doing trekking or, lots of hiking and biking, mountain biking to then end on a beach would be really nice. So I had heard somewhere that Inca Terra is doing, I think, a development up there. Is that right?
Yes, that's a little bit south from Mancora, is Cabo Blanco,
Yeah.
and they are doing a big development there. That's supposed to be the place where Ernest Hemingway would go to fish, like marlin fishing and tuna fishing, like these huge fish. And there is a story around that. And yeah, Cabo Blanco is actually one of the best surf breaks, but I don't even surf that one here because it's too radical. No, it's really strong and it goes to a reef. If you fell there, it's not nice. So yeah,
Okay.
for
Well, I'm not going to be surfing that one either then. If
yeah, and
you're not comfortable, I'm not
no,
comfortable.
no, no, and it only breaks when with big northern swells.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go. I love this picture down to the Colca Canyon. Again, another Belmont hotel. Belmont has lots of beautiful hotels in Peru. So this is their experience, which it's Belmond Las Casitas. And in the morning, you can go and have breakfast looking out over this vast valley and tell us about what happens when you're there.
Well, Colca Canyon is one of my favorite places to go. It is in the Arequipa region. No, Arequipa is where I was born and raised, so no wonder it's so dear to me. And it's high altitude, so it's good to go there after you have acclimatized. And the interesting thing is that a lot of people go there only for the condors, no, because you have these hugely deep canyon with the Colca River going down, and you can see the condors going up using the warm currents of air,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the iconic experience in Colca, no? But people miss a lot of the things that can be done there, like hiking, horseback riding. Well, you can just go and meet the people, no, and have cultural experience and go to the fields. Bird watching there is amazing. Yeah, that's Las Casitas del Colca, which I love.
Do they
Uh,
just have little llamas running around the property?
yes, absolutely. And that area, there are three cousins of the llamas. No, you have the llama, you have the alpaca,
Okay.
which is where we get most of the fiber, the wool for fine weaving. You have the guanaco, which is wild, and they live in packs. You find a lot of more guanaco in Chile, in the Patagonia, than in Peru, but you can see them going to Colca, and you have plenty of vicuña. Vicuña is arguably the finest fiber in the
Mm-hmm.
world for weaving, no, because it's really amazing. And yeah, a poncho is very expensive, or a sweater, and you can find that in Arequipa, no. And vicuña are semi-wild, so twice a year the community they gather them, they walk huge distances, make a huge circle, and then narrow, and then they shave them, or they cut
Shear them. They shear
shear
them.
them,
Yeah.
and then they're released again, no. So that's another experience that is completely unique, no. Going to a community in that time of the year and participating on that is just unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have the blanket that I purchased the first time I went to Peru, which was, I think, 20, no, maybe 19 years ago. And I remember actually I wanted to buy a second blanket. but it was so heavy because it was, it was just so dense with this beautiful alpaca. I think it was alpaca that I just couldn't imagine carrying it home. I had no room in my suitcase, but it was a regret of mine that I did not purchase it because it was so beautiful. And on a cold New England day, it would be the perfect way to stay warm for sure.
Yeah.
Um, well,
Yeah.
yeah, here's some more of the cute little, what kind are these? Are these the wild ones? Can you
No,
tell?
those are alpaca, and that's in the Sungate mountain next to Cusco. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Hmm.
and I love this picture. So we didn't really talk about this area, but it's stunning. Look at the colors on that lake, right?
Yeah, that may be Cordillera Blanca, the White Range.
Yeah.
That's up north from Lima, the Central Andes, and that's the mecca for mountain climbing. No, I've done climbing a couple of times, but again, that's a bit too risky for me. No,
Okay.
but it's beautiful, and hiking and trekking there is amazing.
It's beautiful. Well, I
Yeah.
know, we always touch on, lots of different adventures during these conversations. And what I love is to kind of find what are some of the lesser known places to go. And I think, Peru obviously has so many remote places to get to. And you can go on so many different adventures. One of the ones you had mentioned to me, which isn't too far off the beaten path, but it's just such a cool place. Tell us a little bit about the Nazca Lines.
Yeah, the Nazca Lines. An aerial picture, no, from an
Yeah.
airplane, and Nazca is south of Lima, and it's near Paracas. No, again, as I was mentioning, this is a desert, no, and going to I would say rather than staying actually in Nazca town, I would stay in Paracas, where there are a couple of beautiful hotels or private villas, and you can go and see, this combination of desert and ocean, and you can go see sea lions, penguins, all the wildlife there. So it's really interesting. And in the afternoon, go four-wheel driving through the dunes and have a beautiful dinner in the desert. And the next day, you can fly from Paracas and look at these amazing historical remain, which are the Nazca lines. No, they are all over different drawings. This is the spider. You have the hummingbird, the monkey, the whale. It's really really astonishing. No, so that area to enjoy the Peruvian desert and the ocean is really interesting.
Nice. I love this one. This is clearly you guys heading out with some people to go mountain biking somewhere in the remote mountains.
Yeah, that's me with my friend Duilio. We were scouting a route for some travelers, and we were going to do a multi-activity. No, so it was going to be first day mountain biking, second day mountain biking and river rafting in the Apurimac River, which is astonishing, is just unbelievable. And then, well, second day hiking and rafting, and the final day just river rafting, or whitewater river rafting. And we were looking at the maps and just finding the routes to do it right. It was
Nice.
nice.
And so what are some of your other places that are a little bit more remote? I know when we talked the other day, you had mentioned a waterfall on kind of the northern part.
Yes. Uh, Up north from Peru, we were talking about Chicama and the northern coast, and there is also Chiclayo north from also in the coast, and from there you can connect up to the Andes and to the Amazon, no? And that area is a completely different kind of Andes, more like jungle-like, and you have these archaeological sites like Cuelap or Revash, like completely different to anything else in other parts of Peru. It's a different culture, and you have these huge waterfalls. No, Gokta waterfall was considered as one of the highest in the world with 700 meters tall. It has two. If there are a few hotels there overlooking the waterfall, and you can hike either to the bottom, but I prefer hiking to the middle one because the views from there are are beautiful. No, you have a picture of me and my family hiking in that part. I think.
I don't know if it's on this one. I might not.
Yeah, I think I saw it, but no, doesn't mind. Doesn't matter. So it's really great, and in that area we have one of these hotels that are in my heart. It's a 5 room little lodge. It's not really luxury, but the luxury is the experience, no, because it's very comfortable. There is this lady that makes the cooking right there for you, and hosts the whole lodge, delicious food, and you can I could sit there all day long with my binoculars and spot at hummingbirds. No, this size, this size, this size, blue, yellow, green, sparkling. So it's one of those beautiful places, and it's right next door to an amazing museum, no, where they have 200 mummies rescued from lake that was going to be destroyed by looters. So it was when people knew about that, the archaeologists went there and rescued all these archaeological remains and made a museum, which is really interesting about the culture there. No, so yeah, it has a little bit of everything. That's
I think
one of
you bring up a good point because a lot of people again think like they're going to Peru, they're going to Machu Picchu, but there's so much culture and history and ruins throughout the country that you don't actually have to go to Machu Picchu, or you can round it out with some other places, to learn even more than obviously that iconic destination. Would you say, I know one of the places on my list to go next time I go to Cusco is to Monkey Cafe because I always love finding cool, fun cafes to hang out at. Do you have some favorite either cafes or restaurants in the country, Lima, Cusco, wherever?
Yes, as every Peruvian, I'm a foodie. No, I love finding not necessarily the fine dining side, which is okay. You go there every now and then, but the little holes in the walls are really nice to go and spend time there. No, for example, in when I live in Lima, I live in Barranco, which is this bohemian kind of a trendy part of an historical part of Lima, and I love to go to Siete, for example. No,
Mm.
Siete is one of my favorite restaurants. They do these sea urchins.
Mm,
Is that the name? I
yeah.
love them with this marine flavor, like pure. You flavor the ocean, and with a little very subtle sauce on top. Wow, amazing. And next door is Isolina, which is kind of a traditional Peruvian tavern, and with all the Barranco style house, old house from the 1800s, and there the ceviche with the side deep fried octopus, wow, is just astonishing. No, I love it as well. That's for lunch, and not counting the whole Nikkei cuisine or the Peruvian Japanese, which I also love. Um, the rooftop at Hotel B is one of my recent findings. I was there 3 weeks ago before I came here to the valley, and looking at the sunset during the afternoon, having a capitan or a pisco sour, a cocktail, is just beautiful. And service in Hotel Bay, which is my favorite hotel in Lima, is
Hmm.
just unbelievable. No, and again, full of character and history. So that's what that's those are a few of my favorite places, and all of them are in Barranco because I love Barranco.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it sounds like a great place. Hotel B is one of my favorite places to send people to. So I agree with you
yeah,
on that.
yeah,
I also wanted to touch on at the end because sometimes over the top experiences have to do with price points, and sometimes they just have to do with something that's kind of so crazy and outrageous. And this is the Sky Lodge. You and I were talking about this because I think you and I are both on the more adventurous side. The Sky Lodge can be either a place to spend the night. This gives you a little bit of an example of what that might look like for you if you chose to spend the night from the outside or the inside of one of these glass pods. And then the one before, you can actually go there for lunch. So if you don't want to spend the night for whatever reason, you can have this amazing experience in this glass-like dome stuck to the side of the mountain. Tell us a little bit about this. Have you gone up there and give us
yes.
tell everybody how you get up there?
Well, I love that experience. All that concept is done by a friend of mine who was raised in Huaraz, the area for mountain climbing. So he's a mountain climbing guide, and he moved to Cusco, and he did this Via Ferrata, and this you cannot see it entirely from the picture, but this restaurant or dining room is hanging on a 400-meter tall granite wall. No, so the way to reach that place or where or your room is doing a via ferrata, no, through this wall. That's me crossing that the bridge where you're hanging, just with all the safety and everything, and looking down these 300 or 400 meters, and it's just amazing. No, it's you have that adrenaline of rock climbing, but at the same time you're all attached and your guides are so professional, so you're not running any risks. No, so you can do that with your family. We've done that with 7-year-old kids, which is a little bit extreme, but say teenagers or 12 years old, that's fine. And it's a really really fun experience, and it's right there in the Sacred Valley, so easy to reach.
Absolutely. So it would be a great stop en route to Machu Picchu.
Mhm.
If you would like to have a little bit more adrenaline and wow factor, you could spend the night up there in one of those pods. I'm not sure I'd actually sleep if I was in one of those pods, so I might need a backup plan. But I can't imagine it would be super fun to climb out of it in the dark.
Yeah,
So I
and
think you
well, you climb out during the starting early afternoon, so that you
okay?
can climb up with daylight. And one of the things is, if you see, it's all glass, no, the top, no, so
Yeah,
sleeping there is just looking at the stars and hanging in this wall, and the views are just unbelievable.
yeah. I'm in. I'm
Mhm.
definitely in.
Yeah. And you have a bathroom, of course, inside, and all the comforts.
I'm not going to ask the details about that. It looks complicated. So we'll just
Yeah.
assume it's better than camping, but who's to know? Okay, well, this has been a wealth of information. Are there any sort of parting, tips or things that you think people should consider or think about before they come?
Yes, one of the things is try to do the three different regions. The other thing is really talk to your travel advisor and express what are your interests, no, because with such a huge diversity of activities, culture, food, history, no, we can really focus on what you would like, no, even going to the highlights, say Cusco, Machu Picchu, etc., tailoring the trip according to your interests is key. No, don't do a general trip for the picture. Just the idea is the authentic, no, and that can be arranged around your. If you tell us about your interests, then time of the year we were talking about that, Mimi, because for the coast, for example, for Lima, our summer, which is from December to March, about, it's all sunny and the weather is nice, but the Andes are more rainy, which is not necessarily bad, no, because it's also green and lush. Like right now is my favorite time, no, maybe March, April, because everything is so green and lush from the rains, but you're no longer having so much rain, no. And the Amazon good all year long. And yeah, a good way, as we were talking, to acclimatize to the altitude is always start your trip in the Andes in the Sacred Valley, no, or in Arequipa, for example, which is lower than Cusco. No, don't go straight to more altitude. I would say stay under 3,000 meters. No,
Yeah,
and yeah,
because you don't want to waste any of your days feeling ill.
exactly.
That's for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nico, muchas gracias. Un placer como siempre. I appreciate you being here today. One day we'll have to do one of these in Spanish for all my Spanish-speaking clients, of which
Absolutely.
there are not that many. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your time with us and your information and your expertise. I know, as the world opens back up, Peru is going to be on a lot of people's lists. So I'm excited to send some people back your way.
Thank you so much, Mimi. It's really always a pleasure speaking with you, being in touch. I'm waiting for you here. You have a spare room in my house if you want. And
Perfect.
no, and thank you. It's been great to be here and speak a little bit about what I love.
Yeah, the country you love. Well, I'm glad you're living the dream. I think it sounds great, and it's what most people covet. So you are a lucky man. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. Ciao.